The 2020 NASCAR Xfinity playoffs are here, and for the third time in his career, Ryan Sieg has qualified. For Team 39, well, actually, pretty much everybody, 2020 has been an up and down year. On their best days, they've certainly been better than in previous years, but many times they've seemed just about the same as last year. Nevertheless, the team still qualified for the playoffs by a comfortable margin. So for this video, I'll be going over each of the 3 races in round 1 and just what we can expect to see performance-wise from the 39. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who doesn't actually work for the team, so this is all from fan perspective, so I guess make of this video what you will. Advancing into round 2 will be no easy task. Keep in mind that excluding playoff newcomer Brandon Brown's team, the other 10 cars competing have some level of Cup affiliation. Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske literally run Cup cars, they're Cup teams. And Junior Motorsports and Colleague Racing have a lot of backing from Hendrick Motorsports and RCR. But the theme of this video is that anything can happen, so let's take a look at the 3 races and see just what the 39 has to offer. Las Vegas will likely be the most important round for all the playoff teams. It is the only race that is not considered a wild card, so all of the teams are going to be scrambling to score as many points as possible. And luckily for Ryan Sieg and the 39 team, their mile-and-a-half pace has been really impressive. 2 of their 4 top 5s from this season have come on mile-and-a-halves, and I think the additional strong runs at Auto Club and Darlington show that the 39 does have the pace to fight with the big teams. Unfortunately, with the great pace has also come a string of bad luck on the mile-and-a-halves. Charlotte, Atlanta, and Texas, all 3 of them plagued by 3 separate mechanical issues, resulting in 3 finishes outside the top 29. And though they aren't the cookie-cutter mile-and-a-halves, the 2 races at Homestead were ruined by a brake failure and a strategy that just didn't exactly play out. Speaking of strategy, Kevin Starlin has proved that he is willing to think outside of the box when it comes to the strategy for the 39. And on many occasions, it's worked out really well. Their top 5 at Kansas and the stage wins at Homestead are a direct result of that. And don't worry, we're going to be talking about Kevin Starlin's strategy a lot more in this video. Bringing this all back around to this race in Las Vegas, I think at the very least a top 10 is likely, barring any mechanical issues. They've been fast, and they've been running without practice for long enough now that I think the tiny issues are all behind them. And remember, Las Vegas in the spring was the site of what is probably Ryan Sieg's best NASCAR race ever. I think a great run is on the cards, and I know the team are hoping so, because up next is... So yeah, Talladega. I probably have better luck predicting the winner of this race by throwing names into a hat and picking one. So far, there has never been a plate race in the Xfinity playoffs, so it's kinda new for everyone. Anything can and probably will happen in this race, and we know some big playoff names are gonna find trouble at some point. We also know that Sieg has been really good on restrictor plate tracks for years, but I have the feeling that Kevin Starlin is gonna throw the playoffs out the window for this race, and he's probably gonna put the 39 in the best position to win, even if it costs him a lot of stage points. If you remember back to Daytona a few weeks ago, that's exactly what he did. Sieg ran at the back for most of stage 1 and 2, and then stage 3 began, and boom, there he was, running with the fastest cars without an issue. Well, one issue, which eventually cost him a good finish. But remember, the Colleague cars crashed on the last lap, and if Sieg was still in that main pack, he probably could have won, or at least got a strong top 5 finish out of it. But at the very least, they left Daytona with the fastest lap of the race. Well, actually, it was the fastest lap of the season. So that's something. I know it doesn't really count for anything, but it at least still shows that they have good super speedway pace. Colleague racing is going to be hard to beat though. They kind of have an iron curtain sort of thing going on at the front of the field. I still think this is the 39's best shot at winning for the rest of the season probably, but it's Talladega, so we know they have really good pace. So I guess good luck. The cutoff race this year will be at the ROVAL, and I'm going to be blunt here. This is probably going to be a survival race. In his 2 previous starts here, Ryan Sieg's best finish at the ROVAL is 30th. This track has not been kind to the 39 team. Las Vegas and Talladega could easily yield some good results, and if they come into the ROVAL with a solid chunk of points, I think advancing is certainly possible. But if they need a lot of points or are in a must-win situation, However, there are a few things I'd like to mention that might aid the 39 in conquering the ROVAL. Number 1, Sieg's road course performance in 2020. Road courses are not a discipline that Ryan Sieg has really been known for running well on. They haven't been bad in previous years, but just not spectacular. But 2020 has actually been pretty solid, all things considered. Their worst road course finish this year is 17th at the Indianapolis road course, which, remember, it was a brand new track they'd never run on before. And for a worst finish, 17th isn't that bad. Plus, he got a good amount of stage points in that race. And Kevin Starlin's out-of-the-box strategies aided them in a 9th place finish at Road America, which is Sieg's best road course finish ever. And despite some problems early in the race, they even ran last at some point. With some really great driving, Sieg was able to claw back to an 11th place finish at the Daytona road course, which once again was a brand new track. The ROVAL isn't really like any of the other road courses they've run on so far, but I still think it's important to show that they have had good runs. Which leads to number 2. Number 2, the Xfinity Series drivers are really aggressive in 2020. We know that there's going to be some championship hopefuls who need a lot of points or are in a must-win scenario. Briscoe or Cindric, probably not really because they have a lot of playoff points, but it could easily be Gregson, Jones, or Ross Chastain. And we've seen a lot of times this year that those drivers are willing to be aggressive when they need to be. Or don't need to be. The ROVAL has always been a wild show on the Cup side, and I've always felt it's been a little bit tamer on the Xfinity side, but not this year. It won't be. I know for a fact there's going to be at least a few crashes with drivers desperately trying to advance into the next round or just win. And as long as Sieg can make it past those crashes, I think it could be the playoff upset of the season. But like I said, their luck has never been good on the ROVAL, so once again, good luck. And that is my analysis of the 3 races. Now, with the ROVAL and Talladega in this round, it's a lot of luck. We know that the 39 has had good pace at many different types of tracks, but with the amount of luck that is going to be needed to advance, I really don't know if I can say they will or won't advance. What I will say, though, is that this is probably their best chance of advancing, at least compared to the previous 2 years. And obviously, I hope they do advance, and if they do, I will make another video just like this, but analyzing it for round 2, of course. But if they don't, I'll still do the yearly recap type thing that I did at the end of last year, once the season is over, of course. So until then, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys